What do you feel like are the best defenses for the resurrection? And yeah, we can go from there.
Okay, so I think one that might not seem like a defense, but I'll explain. It's the reality of Christianity in the first place.
Okay.
The birth of the church, the birth of the Christian religion, period. Because the question is, how did Christianity begin? For what reason? Even whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
The fact is that it started in the first century. So my question is for anybody is, for what reason did Christianity start, if not Jesus actually resurrecting? Because the resurrection is, as Paul said, the foundation for belief.
Yep.
Not Jesus. And I think even Christians might not realize this either, which is why we talked about that before. Like, if Jesus didn't get up, would you still be a follower of Jesus? Would you still, like, what would stay and remain when it comes to your faith?
Yeah.
Because the resurrection does make a difference. And I think the reason why that question is so important is because, like Paul said, if Jesus was not raised, then we are to be pitied. It's like the resurrection is the foundation of Christianity, not God's existence.
Yeah.
God existing does not result in Christianity. Jesus walking the earth as a man with good teachings does not result in Christianity. Jesus walking the earth claiming to be God does not result in Christianity. Jesus walking the earth doing all his same teachings, dying on the cross for him, does not equal Christianity. Jesus being God, claiming to be God, doing all of his teachings, dying on the cross, and then raising 3 days later is what Christianity is.
Yeah.
And so without that happening, there is no Christianity.
Right.
So I think the reality of Christianity even starting, for me, is good evidence.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts?
So I think the initial pushback would be, what if we just said, fair, Christianity doesn't start unless people believed that Jesus got up. But whether he got up or not isn't validated by the fact that the religion exists. And so for someone to say, yes, I believe he got up, for the 12 disciples to be so grieved at Jesus' death that they hallucinated and had a dream and then said, man, I think he's still alive. Like, they couldn't have said, I think he's alive with us in spirit, because Paul explicitly says that's not what happened. The Gospels explicitly say, touch my hands. And so yeah.
And the eating fish thing, like Jesus did things that were not, he was eating fish on the beach or something like that.
So I can already hear the hole in my argument, but I do think that's what the claim would be. So I'll let you even just beat it to death. But it's the idea that, sure, we can grant you that the disciples believed that Jesus physically got up, but what does that have to do with me? Like, they believed it, but why should I believe in their belief?
Okay, so my thought is that, for one, you don't have to. For two,
you're grown. First of all, you can do what you want.
You are a human of free will. But it's like, so it's like you don't have to. But I think to consider the fact that these people were actually there. If somebody is claiming something happened, they could either be lying, mistaken, or telling the truth. Like, intentionally lying and fabricating it.
Right.
They can be genuinely mistaken of what they think they saw,
right,
or they know exactly what they saw and they're telling the truth.
And those are the only three options.
I can't think of any other option.
Yeah, because anything else is just like crazy. Like literally, they're mentally unstable.
I mean,
which
but that
falls
would
into
actually
the
be
category of mistaken.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, there's no other option. And so it's like, okay, the reason why I would, so if a person today is like, why would I believe based on their testimony?
Yes.
Well, you know, there's only these three options.
Right.
So already taking the slice out of you just choosing to say, I don't want to believe what they said or even care about what they said. Okay, cool. But if you actually want to check into it, there's only these three options.
Right.
So if that's the case, starting with maybe they were fabricating it and lying.
Yep.
My thing would be the only reason why, unless someone can think of any other reason, the only reason why somebody would lie about something of this nature, especially knowing the repercussions.
Yes.
The only reason why they would lie is if they were gaining something either for themselves or for their family or loved ones or for their organization they're working for. Like, it would have to be of some benefit, especially if the repercussions are, I can get persecuted, tortured, killed for this, stoned, crucified, like set on fire, like all of these things can happen, but there's no reason why you would completely fabricate a story and lie about what you saw when you were there.
Right.
You know, especially if you didn't see it. Jesus is still in the tomb, the same one over there. The rock is still over there, rolled. He's in there, just a corpse. And you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to just say he resurrected. I didn't see it, but I'm going to just say. And I think the nature, too, of Thomas shows that people weren't just weird at that time where they just were believing stuff. The fact that that's documented, that Thomas was doubting it, I think shows that, like they had people who were believing things and being reasonable and people that were like, I didn't see it. The fact that that mindset existed is honestly comforting.
Yes, because you can put yourself into that time period and say there's somebody there that was fact checking stuff. I like this.
Exactly.
I'm gonna rock with him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and before you move on to the next one, I feel like, because there's a one-to-one almost comparison of this, and it's not Alexander the Great, it's Alexander somebody. He's just a false prophet. And he goes around basically claiming that he is the son of a deity, and ends up basically by doing this, he's like, and this deity told me to be fertile with all women. He definitely gained women out of that. And then he said, hey, if you want God to love you, then you will sacrifice to his son, which is me. And then he gained food from that. And so you can watch him knowingly lie. Like it's
exactly
like someone followed his story right up until he got caught and died.
Right.
But it's like, I can track this and its motivation. He just thought he wouldn't get caught.
Right.
But he was winning. This lie benefited him more than the truth did. And so lying makes sense. Your example is someone intentionally lied and lost they didn't just gain multiple women, they probably lost the people they had. They lost everyone. It's like they didn't get money, they walked around poor. They didn't no
power, no status, no sex, all nothing, the things that would
drugs.
Motivate a person.
Nothing. And so they literally lost everything knowing they were lying.
Makes no sense.
Saying it out loud is funny. Now, I've always agreed with you. I don't know if I've ever said it out loud before. So now I'm like, that's... So anyway, next topic.
It makes no sense, yeah. So it's like, you can take that off the table. And this is something to highlight, too, before I go into the second one, is like, the apostles, and not just the apostles, whoever was there to witness this, like, they were in a unique position because they were actually present. They were eyewitnesses. They were living at the time. One generation after that, they were the only ones in their position where we can apply this method to.
Right, true.
Any generation after that is no different than us in 2024 because they were not there. It doesn't matter. We just have to go one generation removed. And now everyone, Thomas was basically equivalent to that. Thomas was not there to see it. But the minute Jesus then comes to him, now he's an eyewitness. He's there. But once Jesus left, it's like, okay, everybody after that has to now believe, no different than we do, in 2024 on someone else's testimony.
Right.
And now that's a whole nother conversation, because now we have to trust that the people who saw what happened were telling the truth, and we have to figure that out.
Yeah.
They didn't have to figure nothing out.
Yeah,
it was
they
an
had to
event
just-
before their eyes. So
Yeah.
they know if they lied or not.
Yes.
So we have to test that.
Yes.
We don't know, like someone or Christians evangelizing to other people, trying to tell people that Jesus resurrected today. It's easy to play the card, which I think is valid, to say you're trusting someone else's account and you're hoping they were telling the truth.
Right.
There's no way for you to know if they lied or if they were just genuinely mistaken.
Right.
It's like, but of course people aren't thinking, if they don't believe Jesus actually resurrected, if you don't believe the people who were there are telling the truth,
Right.
it leaves you with those two options. They either lied or were mistaken.
Right.
So it's like, and there's no way for us to know that.
Right.
So we need to go back then to the people who were there.
Yeah.
It's a whole different nature, because
Yeah.
we don't know if they lied, but they do.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they did lie, it makes no sense when you reasonably try to test it,
Yeah.
because of everything you just brought up. It didn't gain them anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were in a unique position. So to move on to the next one, for them to be mistaken, we got to flesh that out. It's like,
Yeah.
what are all the things that come to mind when you think about them being mistaken? Like, in what ways could they have been mistaken?